Welcome along to the marketplace. This is the NBL's look at free agency from all angles. We've been speaking so much about player signings during the last couple of weeks, but this is big news as far as the coaching stakes are concerned, because Dean Vickerman, the coach of Melbourne United, has re-signed for 4 more years. A big deal in terms of coaching structures, and he joins us now on the marketplace. Dean, congratulations. This is the sort of security in professional sport that doesn't come along that often.
Yeah, extremely rare, and very thankful to our ownership and board for having the faith in me to lead this program forward. And I think from certainly from my side of it, you look at when you see a long-term deal like that and see what it can do for your family and all the other things outside of it, but. For me to look at our ownership and know that the model's changed over my time from, just kind of being Larry to start with and now having, 12 owners. And these guys really have invested in the club in the last few years, not with their money, but with their time and what they can add to the program. And I think, I was very fortunate to have a single owner with Paul Blackwell at the Breakers and Larry, originally at Melbourne United, but now to see what you can do with more people involved and how they can help your program, I'm really excited about the future of the ownership of this club.
Was it ever in doubt that your name had been linked to Asia, which happens a lot, obviously, given your standing in the game here? Did you ever consider anything outside of Melbourne United?
I'm a coach that loves to do things for the first time, and I've had the opportunity to, jumped at the Singapore opportunity when it was, go over there and be part of it, starting a franchise and coach the national team, and, love to do those things. And you're always looking for those in basketball. And probably this was the moment for me to say, is there a chance, to go really visit somewhere or get another basketball experience? And, I still have 1 more year to run on my contract, but, if I was going to make a move, I was going to give a good heads up to the club to say, hey, I want to make sure that this club's in great position if I did do something. But for them to come really strong with an offer for long term and that kind of commitment to me is like, all right, refocus. This is a great challenge. We've been here for 6 years. We've won a couple of championships. We're going to be able to build a really strong roster. Let's go ahead and really impact basketball in Victoria and keep having a shot at trying to win a championship every year.
Let's talk about the roster. You're one of the more complete teams now in terms of the build during this free agency period. You've covered up a lot of spots on the depth chart. Are you happy with how it's come together so far?
Oh, for sure. You obviously win and lose some of these signings in free agency, and we didn't win every one, and that's how I thought this free agency period has been amazing, and probably the best I've experienced about the timelines that were put on you, about the amount of teams that were chasing high level talent, the length that you had to go to do your research and to recruit and sell your program. And because the money is pretty similar with every club right now. It's it's about the other things that you can offer, and your practice facility. I'm sure we're going to see everybody in our league just really upgrade their practice facilities over the next few years. What kind of staff can you put together that can help players get to the next level? And I'm excited about our league because we have to keep getting better, every team, to be able to recruit players. And we were fortunate enough to have have Joel Cool come back was huge for us to, not only add a defensive key for us, but also a guy that, can average 18 to 20 a game. And for him to put trust in us to say, I'm going to sign 1 year, I'm going to back myself again and see where this 1 year can go ahead and lead me. And, that's been the real key one, because now you can put a lot of the other defensive parts around, because there's a guy on your roster that can go get 20 plus.
Were there any learnings? I'll ask you more about Joe in a moment, but any learnings from the roster build of the season just gone that you took into this season?
Yeah, we were pressed for for time on most of it, and it was a real scramble once we were sitting at Summer League and seeing Delhi pick up his contract and seeing Jack White pick up his contract and and Joe leaving. It was a real scramble, and so I think anytime you're forced to scramble, you're not going to make the perfect decision, and I don't think we did. We got some really high level talent, and maybe they just weren't quite as the Melbourne United type of players that we've recruited in the past, and we needed to work with them for a little bit longer to really have them understand the demands that we put on both ends of the floor. And so we saw some real growth in Tak and X, and obviously the change that we made in Marcus Lee mid-year was a huge one, and him being able to connect from both the imports and the local talent together. He was a great connector, and he was a big reason of our turnaround the second half of the year. So we're not scrambling this year. We had a time. We got a great process. We got a lot of people involved in it, and I think when you follow that kind of structure, you're going to make good decisions.
You mentioned that Joe Lualachul was one of the first signings for Melbourne United during free agency, and that was announced earlier. I think a lot of people, if you can take us behind the scenes a little bit, Dean, here on the marketplace, when does the process start to build the roster for next season?
Yeah, we went through a process over the last couple of years about meeting weekly with a recruitment committee, and that involved Chris Moore from our ownership, Nick Toulson, our CEO, and Mark Boyd, our operations manager, and myself. And obviously we're looking forward, but we're looking, our current roster. We're looking at the development of people, and then outside. How can we help them outside of the game as well, and just continue to assess people and their strengths and how they're moving forward. And so I think that weekly meeting just puts you a step ahead of the game. It's not like, this is our recruitment period. Our recruitment period is all year round, and I think Chris has done an amazing job as the other guys on that committee, but Chris is the guy that's really dealing with a lot of the agents for us right now. And I like to step away as a coach to say, these are the guys that we want. You guys can work out the absolute best deal we can, and our group has done excellent in that area.
Luke Travers signing with Melbourne has been one of the biggest stories of free agency so far. How does he fit into your style? What sort of role do you see Luke playing?
Yeah, again, Luke, another huge piece and a local piece that in some ways is filling an import spot, just like Joe is, in what we're going to ask of them and demand of them as well. We feel like our 4 spot that Jack White played, and Mason Peatling and Dave Barlow and David Quera, all these guys have played over the years, is such a linked position for us. It initiates our defence. It's, can you deny a point guard? Can you pressure it up the floor and get a deflection? We see Luke's length, in that area, and his agility to really trouble some guards and the ball handling up and down the floor. Offensively, it becomes an initiation of our offense. A lot of the time, point guards throwing it to the 4-man in the backcourt, come down and initiate offense and get things going. And then as the ball moves, it's your time to have you catching at the top of the key. Can you go beat your man, or am I involved in a 2-man game with Chris Golding that has me dive or pop or makes reads out of it? So, it takes a really high IQ guy and a guy that's energy and tank is really large, because we're asking you to play full court at both ends.
Shea is one that I guess is a bit of an unknown, Dean. Do you have an update on how he's tracking heading into NBL 24, given the challenges that he's had with concussion over the last 2 seasons? Yeah,
we learned a lot about concussion last year, having 27 games missed out of 28 from concussion, and one player down every game. It's kind of crazy what we went through, but we've learned a lot. Shea having multiple concussions, it's you get to start to talk about people's career and how that works, and so taking him out of all of contact from the end of the season until he goes into Tall Black camp, and so he's still getting his workouts. He's symptom free. He's back on the tools as a chippy right now, and doing that 3 days a week, and I think what we learn a little bit about long-term injuries is, you can't just sit around and play video games and wait for your body to get right. You need other things to do, and having, Shea focus on something else and picking up his trade and doing those things, I think is great for his mind. But, he'll be ready for contact. We'll make sure that we've gone through every process, that when he steps into Tall Black camp, he's absolutely ready for contact, and hopefully has an amazing World Cup and can absorb the hits that he needs to.
We've got some boom youngsters coming back to the NBL next season out of the college system. Kyle Bowen is a young man that everyone has been trying to sign. He's decided to link up with Melbourne United for next season out of St Mary's. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, a little. He's going to, work with Luke Travers at that 4 spot, and those two guys will hold that down. Again, we saw the IQ with him. He's a guy that, talking to Randy Bennett, he's like, I just can't take him off the floor. He just impacts winning, and they're the things that Dave Barlow did for us. You're not going to look at the box score and say he's got 20, or he had a double versus us in a preseason game, and that's, I think, when he's at his best, when he's affecting the rebound. He's been in the right spot offensively. He's shot the 3 ball at over 38 the last couple of years, and so he can stretch the floor a little bit for us. And then there's just defensively, he's active feet. He does so many little intangibles, and he's always going to box out. He's going to always be in the right spot. Randy's done an amazing job with that St Mary's group. I think they ranked 5 in the nation defensively last year, and Kyle's a guy that's playing 34 minutes a game, and he was a massive factor in that. Flynn Cameron coming out of college as well, going to have a massive impact in the guard position for us. So, and then Tanner Krebs, another St Mary's guy. So yeah, we got that little St Mary's influence coming into our program, and I love that, because Randy turns out really quality people, and they play basketball the right way. They like to share the basketball, and they play great defense. So
I guess in summary, Dean, there's not many spots left in the Melbourne United roster for this coming season. What will you be looking for in terms of the type of player to finish off?
Yeah, there's a couple of guard positions on our roster at the moment, and so we see, again, the best two-way guards that we can find. We need to add some shooting, to this roster still, and we also need to have guys that are willing and able to go get their own, but really be a distributor. Some guys that can just have the speed, that can go past somebody and get other people's shots as well. So, we don't have a time limit on this search. It can be as late as we need it to be, and we're not really waiting on other positions. Does someone go to the NBA this year or not so much? So, we'll take our time with the process of these last couple of spots.
Are you hoping that one of those last spots is Matthew Dellavedova?
Yeah, injured at the moment. He's taken a little fracture. But yeah, how great have Sacramento been, and Mike Brown winning Coach of the Year. Great story, and I'm sure Delly had his own little part in helping Mike win that with the smarts that he is. But again, we've always said if he's not in the NBA, we'll always talk to Matthew Dellavedova.
Dean, congratulations. A 4-year appointment, as we said off the top, in professional sport is not something that comes around all that often, but it's recognition for the work that you've done with Melbourne United and, of course, in the NBL. So enjoy your holidays. Thanks for finding a few minutes for us on the marketplace, and look forward to chatting soon.
Thanks for having me.